Now, the Federal Tax Authority has issued certain decisions, and the one that we are looking at right now is FTA decision number 5 of 2023. And this deals with change in tax period. So, what can happen is that, as you might be aware, there are various companies which follow different financial year or tax period for the purpose of their financial accounts. Now, if they want to align it, right? Now, UAE corporate tax law is applicable from June 1, 2023. If a person has a June 1, 2023 financial year, then he needs to pay taxes in respect of June 1, 2023 to 31st of May 2024. Similarly, different people may have different financial year. Now, if they want to change their tax period, what is the procedure for this? What is the condition which will be considered before the grant shall be allowed? All that is something that is forming part of this particular decision number 5 of 2023. Let us go through this decision and understand what are the key components of it, when is such a change allowed, and what is the procedure for such a change. Now, the application that can be made by a taxable person for the change of tax period has to be made to the FTA. This is in terms of Article 58 of the decree, which we had discussed in the preceding part of our course. And the application can be made to change the start date and the end date of the tax period. So let's say, for example, if I have a June 1, 2023 tax period, right? I can make an application that, or rather, let's say July 1, 2023. I can make an application to extend the tax period for a period of 18 months, the first tax period, and thereafter I can request that January 1 may be considered as a start, and the end date would be, let's say, 31st of December. And second is that the application can be made to use a different tax period, right? So in my particular example, July 1 to December 31 is what I change as the start and the end date. And thereafter, if I say that instead of following July 1 to June 30th, I want to use a tax period which starts from January 1 to December 31, that is something which can be done here. The decision which we have mentioned will be applicable from June 1st, 2023. So what are the permissible reasons for change in tax period? The first one is that if a taxable person is liquidated, let's say a company is liquidated somewhere in March and it follows calendar year as its tax period, it can request that instead of having a 12-month period, it is given a 15-month period for the purpose of changing the tax period. The second could be any valid commercial, economic, or legal reason. The third one is that there is a need for alignment of a financial year of a resident in the UAE. Now, this could be in several cases, right? And when these cases will arise is something which we have discussed in the next slide. So, if there is one resident in UAE, let's say company A, let's say there's a group X group. A new company, which is a resident, wants to join this tax group. But the financial year, let's say for X group is the calendar year, whereas for A, it is July 1 to June 30th. So when joining a tax group, this company can actually request that the financial year of this company be aligned with the financial year of the tax group. That's where an application can be made. The second could be a case where a resident wants to change the tax period to align with its domestic head office or a foreign head office. And this has to be done for financial reporting purposes. The third could be a case where a resident can make an application that I need to do financial reporting with my subsidiary, with my parent, or with my ultimate parent. Because I follow a different financial year, the financial reporting process is something which is difficult. And in order to do this, we want to change the tax period whereby I will be aligning my tax period with a subsidiary, with a parent, or the ultimate parent. And the next one is the benefit of a foreign tax relief. Now, this may happen, let's say, for example, if, just an example, India follows April to March as the tax period, right? Let's say a UAE company, because there was no corporate tax, was following January 1 to 31st of December as the tax period. Now, if there is any taxes which are deducted here during this tax period, the question that comes up is how much of that should be credited in the UAE? To deal with such a situation, what can happen is that a company can make an application that Because of this foreign tax credit issue, I just want to align my financial year in line with the company or the entity from which I'm getting most of my payments and where taxes are being deducted. Now, the other condition for the change in tax period is that the taxable person should not have filed the tax return for the period for which they want to change the tax period. So let's say, for example, if you want to change the tax period for 2024, let's say 31st of December, you should not have filed your tax return for this period. The second condition is that when the change is requested, the extension in the tax period, cumulative extension, should not result in the tax period becoming more than 18 months. A maximum of 18 months is something which is allowed for the extension of tax period. Second, where a decrease in the tax period is requested, it should still be between 6 to 12 months. It cannot be less than 6 months. The third condition is that the application has to be made within 6 months from the end of the original tax period. Now, what does that mean? If you are talking about a period of 31st of December 2024, the application has to be made before 30th of June 2025. If you make it after this date, then by virtue of this, the application will be rejected. Of course, the other conditions are equally applicable, which is you should not have filed the tax return. Because if, let's say, you file a tax return on 31st of May, then you can't make an application after this date. And the application for shortening of tax period cannot be in respect of the current tax period or for prior tax period. What this means is if you follow calendar year and currently you are on 1st of January 2025, right? You can't make an application to reduce the taxable period for 2025 or any year prior to this. So these are the conditions which are relating to the change in tax period. In case you want to subscribe to our course, you can do that as well. Thank you.